Welcome, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We have a guest for you today. He is an author. He is a return guest because we appreciate his contributions so much. And he's the author of the Britfield series. And today we are celebrating the launch of his installment number 4 of the
Five.
Britfield series. It's number 5.
Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. I'm
All
sorry. You're
right.
right. Four. Four. I'm working on five. I'm sorry. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, I
So
think
we're
we should start over. We fumbled
Yeah,
it
I
up.
apologize. I'm sorry. I just started five 2.5 weeks ago. Let me grab the cover real quick. Okay.
That
What
was
a
great.
what an idiot on me. So sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce a self-proclaimed idiot.
I admit it. I take the award. Thank you. I'm going on year 10 too. So it's like I'm on a roll. So anyway.
All right,
Okay.
Forrest, shall we?
Apologies.
I'm ready.
All right, stand by. Welcome, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We have for you today a return guest who we deeply appreciate. His name is Chad Stewart. He is an author of the series called Britfield, and it is for our nation's, well, it's for, let me start over again, because that's dumb. Welcome, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We have for you today a return guest, Chad Stewart. He's the author of the Britfield book series. He's got a new installment that we're going to celebrate today. So, welcome back to the show, Chad Stewart. Chad, thank you for coming back on for us.
Oh,
We learned so much, and we're so inspired by your first appearance on the show, sharing with us and breaking down the Britfield series, the why behind it that
mm,
was so inspirational and motivating in this time and day and age of self, take.
mm.
This book series for the youth is really, for me personally, very cool to ponder and look at and recognize this is out there as a product, shaping the minds and empowering our little ones. So, welcome back to the show, Chad. I appreciate you coming on. So if you want, just go ahead and take the microphone and run with it however you'd like, unpacking for people
Sure.
that didn't catch the first one, how it began, and then where we're at now, and whatever you would have them know.
Well, I appreciate it. I love to be back on your show. I'm a big fan and was following you for years and your work. And was actually thinking about the interview earlier today. And I was thinking about so much stuff that you sort of cover on your show or are familiar with from your past training is included in the Britfield series. We kind of thread it through, and I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, just as a quick overview, originally from Newport Beach, California, it's back east, Wellesley, Massachusetts, for about 16 years. Did my undergraduate in British literature, European history, which will explain sort of what do you do with that and the impact on the book series. And actually got into banking and investment banking for years until I had the idea over 12 years ago for Britfield Lost Crown. And since then, I literally had an idea, sat down, took me 4 years, 2,500 hours to write book one, Britfield Lost Crown, 384 pages. And it took me 4 years and 2,500 hours. And then we launched it officially in August 2019. And really, since then, it has been a soft release of the series over the last 6 years. And so this is an exciting time for me to be on your show because this is year 7, biblical, and this is really big for us. This year is huge, and so some people or quite a few people haven't quite heard of it yet, and you will. But little by little, we've been building our base, we've been building the brand. Since the launch of book one, it's become a national bestseller. It's one of the most awarded books in children's fiction. Everything from Parents' Choice Gold Medal to Mom's Choice Gold Medal to international classics. And I think what's great about the story is a lot of reasons, and we can talk about it because it ties into what we're talking about right now. Is number one, it takes place in present time, and what you have out in the world of fantasy literature, movies, television, is heightened fantasy, is witchcraft, is zombies, is vampires, is space age. It's everything to disconnect kids from reality, right? Number
Yeah.
two, this whole superhero push or magic push is to make kids feel less than they are, right? And it's a very sublime way to do it because it's like you don't solve problems with a wand, you don't solve problems with a spell or a magic cloak or superpowers. You have to face your problems and get through them. And number three, it introduced this market is introducing this sort of unnatural agenda, if you will, content, things that shouldn't be, um, children should not be reading about or should be taught in schools or as young as 3 to 4 to 5 years old, 5 year olds. And so I think it's just what you have is with the Britfield series is a clean, fast-paced, exciting story. It takes place in current time. Book one is in England, about Tom, 12-year-old orphan, and Sarah, and they're up at this horrible place called Weatherly Orphanage. They've been there for 6 years. This is the year that Tom's going to escape, and so the book starts off right away. And from there, they move on to Oxford, Windsor, London, and finally down to Canterbury. But they're chased by the illustrious detective Gowerstone, renowned for capturing children. And there is that sort of undercurrent about the orphanage and how the orphanage is run and how the children are treated as labor. And the money that's given to the orphanage for food and education is taken by Mr. and Mrs. Grievous. So there's a lot of threads. There's a lot of currents in the book. And then I have a reason why in book one, I picked Oxford as a major scene. Again, the idea of the epitome of academia and what is education. Windsor, royalty, and then finally London, banking industry, and then finally Canterbury, religion. And so it is very interesting the way that it's sectioned off into 5 sections. And then we launched book two, Britfield and the Rise of the Lion, in 2021. And that takes place in France. And now they're 13 years old. It's a year later. And that's 474 pages. We launched book three, Britfield and Return to the Prince, which you can kind of see behind me there. And that's it takes place in Italy, mainly in Florence, Rome, and Venice. And then finally, Britfield book four. We launched this in January, Britfield and the Eastern Empire. This is 437 pages. So a lot more compact, and yet we cover 7 different countries, and the main characters, Tom and Sarah, are now 15 years old. And in every book, and I'll stop after this, but in every book, we're always talking about something that's going on behind the scenes, those who control things, because these books are real, right? They're in real time, and there's a reality, and there's this royal mystery, too, that's behind it. What is Britfield? How's Tom connected to Britfield? Uh, and um, and so we kind of thread that through in every book. There's always kind of a main theme. I know that we got into super soldiers in book two, which was interesting. Again, this sort of tall, almost human-like thing that was chasing after the main characters and stuff like that, and how they get into hybrid models and use electronics, how they use how they splice DNA, for heightened intelligence or heightened endurance or, sight at night. And just so we touch on that stuff. We don't get into it, but we touch on it. We talked about quantum computers. We talked about D-Wave computers out of Switzerland. Book three, we talked about social credit scores coming out of China. We talked about the CCT cameras, how they don't just monitor you, but they can spot you using anywhere from 12 to 15 different markers. So you and I could be walking down the street with a big jacket, glasses, and a cap on, but my very movement, my voice would be picked up. They know exactly who it is. And then in book four, the main aspect is a group called the Committee, which is behind, you know, which is the cabal, the committee, behind the scenes, usual suspects. In book four, what they're trying to do is they're trying to crash the global market system by manipulating the stock market using quantum computers and AI. And once they crash and wipe out trillions of dollars, they're going to introduce a one world digital currency. And that was kind of a thread that ran under it. Now, the whole story is really about Tom finding his parents and the resistance that's helping to protect Tom, and then eventually his brother and some of the people that are involved. And it is this great sort of family adventure because everyone that they meet becomes part of their family. It is the resistance. It is a David and Goliath type of story. It is a Star Wars, the ragtag rebellion against the mighty empire. It has those themes in it. And so it's exciting, and it ties into current history. And actually, with book five that I started 2.5 weeks ago, which will take place in Asia, which will be kind of interesting. We're going to be talking about 6G, the threat of 6G networks. So,
Okay. Well, you know what I celebrate about it as I hear you describing it today is the reality of the knowledge. And it's, when you're a child, you want to be entertained, even as
sure.
adults, right? We appreciate that. We want a wild story. We want it to be adventurous, and yours has all that, but it's not a counterproductive type of fantasy that's celebrating witchcraft in a way that's unhealthy. That's got so much of the negativity of this fallen world's
Yes.
programming, that undermines our youth and really, really just betrays them. Yours educates as it entertains, and it lifts up and it empowers, and you empower those that you love. And
Mm,
knowledge is power, and truth is love. So many people now, they don't want to hear the truth because what if it offends someone, or what if it offends my
sure.
sensibilities or my ego? Well, but it's still truth.
Yeah.
So God help us if we get away from speaking the truth,
Yep.
because somebody's struggling and doesn't have enough truth in their life, and so it's somehow a problem. So I feel so good about what this is that you've done.
Mm.
There's a lot of wisdom in that, and you know, beautiful, wild, challenging adventure, but in a real sense that causes the youth to be aware of problem solving and asserting themselves and applying themselves and in a realistic way. I think that's just fantastic. So, um, folks, stay tuned. We got to cut to a quick break. We'll be right back. We're just getting started with Chad Stewart.
Hey, Tim James here, founder of ChemicalFreeBody.com, also the health coach for Craig Sawyer and Forrest Seeley. And I want to help working class people get their energy back and quit having all these health issues. Here's the problems. The average person is carrying around 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material in your colon. This is not good. Number two, we have terrible nutrition because the nutrition has been farmed out of our soils and processed out. Plus, processed foods are killing 4,300 people a day. We need good nutrition. Number three, our gut microbiome's all jacked up from all these toxins and pesticides and stress. We have to balance that. We also have tremendous amounts of inflammation in the body, and we have an overload of toxins from heavy metals, radiation, and pollution. Craig and I and Forrest got together. We created what we call our Defending Our Health bundle. This is a bundle of our products over here at chemicalfreebody.com that will revolutionize your health. We've put them together. Green 85 is going to come in and supply you with all the nutrition you need. Our gut detox will take care of all that impacted garbage inside of you and keep it out. Toxin detox will get the heavy metals, the radiation, and the pollution out. The Nano Silver, the triple action, will start balancing the gut microbiome, and the Turmeric 100 will start reducing inflammation in the body. You put it all together, and working class people can now get their energy back and their health back and start to heal themselves. We need you to be healthy so that you can fight for freedom and fight for these kids. Go to chemicalfreebody.com/DOC and check out the Defending Our Health bundle and all of the other wonderful products that we offer, and we look forward to helping you have the best life ever.
Welcome back, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We're on with Chad Stewart. And right before we got started, we were talking about our epic rescue roast coffee. And I just want to remind you, this is on sale at our website, v4cr.org. You can go there. You can get some very fantastic coffee that goes to fund our operations, to arrest those that are harming children and spare the children from it. So thank you for going to v4cr.org. Go to our shop page, order your rescue roast. And if you want to, you can have it come every month like we do. So bless you for purchasing that and helping support our mission. And I hope it blesses you. And that's why I pray over every single batch of it out loud, because I like doing that. And I pray that it blesses you for having participated in that funding project. So with that said, Chad, you talk about hope with the children. Why do you want to give our youth hope? What's behind that, sir?
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I mentioned this before, and as a quick footnote, I had the privilege of receiving a couple of complimentary bags of your coffee, and it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it, and will be coming back to probably purchase another round of it. So I just wanted to share that as a shout out. I'm not getting anything from it, but I sent you guys, I think, some books, and you sent me some coffee, and I loved it. It was fantastic. I don't drink a lot of coffee, but when I drank coffee, it was like it had a great kick. It was really well blended and nice and even, and much better than some of those other ones that are out there with the seahorse or sea goddess.
Yeah, Chad, I want
Yeah.
to mention that anybody that I have the opportunity to speak to, I push your books like you wouldn't
Oh,
believe.
cheers.
Anybody that says I have kids, I'm like, you got to have them read this book. You got to have them read this book. So we do the same, and we're grateful for what you sent to us.
But no, I think, and there's main themes in my story in Britfield, and some of the themes in the novels is family, friendship, loyalty, courage, and hope. And I think the number one theme is family, the importance of family, and what family means. And again, too, it's not always by blood or birth, right? I bet you guys have some friends right now that are tighter than some of your relatives or
Oh, sure.
close family, right? And it's like you would take a bullet for them. You would do anything for them. That's that agape love that you're talking about, that just loving that friendship. And so that's a huge theme, that family. But hope is another big theme in the Britfield. And they go through, and we were just talking about this in a conversation that I was having earlier, because I'm dealing right now, we're launching globally, and we're dealing right now with, we're talking about Poland. That's going to be a big beachhead for a campaign of the Britfield. In fact, we're already published in, all three books are published in Polish right now in Poland out of a major publishing house. We were talking about some of the world tours. We're talking about the global impact of Britfield, but we're talking about that theme of hope. You know, that's what's in it, and it's like kids right now need that, and so many young kids are struggling. And again, too, it's a thousand and one reasons. One of it is the social media, and again, people need to understand social media was never designed to connect us. It was to undermine us. It was to make us feel less than we are. There was a great thing a pastor said to me a long time ago. He goes, "The quickest way to devalue your car is to compare it to your neighbor's new one," and that's really what Facebook has become, right? You might have this great life, or you had a great day, and then all of a sudden you see someone having a better day, or hey, we just got back from Europe. And so obviously it was a great way to collect data on everyone, to know all their whims, all their connections. Part of it was to collect a database to sell and market, but the other thing was to collect a database on you, and it's all stored into these quantum computers that have been around for decades. But so that has a hindrance on it, you know what I mean? And you hear some things about the bullying, and someone doesn't like you and they post something of you, or you know what I mean? And so kids are dealing with that today. They're dealing with the phones and being just distracted with absolutely nothing and nonsense, violent games. What is there for kids to read today? I mean, I was horrified when I started the Britfield series 10 years ago, when I walked into Barnes and Noble, and I was just like kind of curious, like what was out there, right? Because I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to start to write this novel. And I grew up with Charles Dickens. I grew up with James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, the World of Narnia. Some really great
Great
stories.
Brain was another
Yeah.
good series. Tom Swift.
Oh yeah. And then James Bond. Eventually I kind of grew into that with the movies. At 12 years old, I was a big fan. But I went out there and it's like I was just looking at like the entire middle school shelf, and it was all demonic. I mean, it was just dark. It was witchcraft. It was magic. It was vampires. It was just violent, and you could just feel it. I'm like, where's a good Hardy Boys kind of book? You know what I mean? Like
Right,
just good,
right.
clean. And I'll be honest, just as a footnote, I've been getting back into sort of reading literature. It's funny because you kind of get out of it. It's weird as an author when you're writing novels, fictional stuff. It's hard to read fiction. I don't know why. I'm huge into biographies. I'm huge into history and research, but I've been having fun with it. And so I started reading some of the classics again. I went through all of Roald Dahl's series, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was a masterpiece, to James and the Giant Peach. Reading all of the Sherlock Holmes adventures again. And I actually read about 40 of the Hardy Boys, which I hadn't done in 40 years. But I was kind of curious. I'm like, I got to come back to it. And it was, I mean, I think the first book was 1928. And these things are pretty cutting edge. I mean, they were riding motorcycles. They were going out and like, okay, Dad, we're going to head down to Pirates Cove and check out the smugglers. All right, just be home for dinner. You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty cool. And they were like, and they would stand up and they would fight. And I mean, it's like, it's a really good series. Like, that was like 80 years ago. Guys being guys with a bit of gumption and some character. And it's like, where's that gone? And unfortunately, even on the conservative side or faith-based side, everyone's still trying to hook the wagon to the world of fantasy. And I'll be honest, I think the hardest type of fiction to write is a sort of um, natural fiction. That's what I'm doing. I mean, the books that I'm doing are so authentic; they're grounded in reality. And when they're in a position, I mean, I've written myself into my own corners, because it's like, how do you get out of this? And that makes sense. It doesn't. I don't wave a wand, right? I don't
Right.
walk through a wall. I don't say abacadabra, or pull out my magic bean, or walk through my magical wardrobe. So it's like it's hard, and to me, it's the hardest thing. And I'm writing book 5 right now, and guess what I was doing? I was researching. I'm researching maps. I'm looking at distances. Today I was looking at how high can a plane go before you need oxygen? Because my characters are escaping from Mongolia to Beijing, and so they're sneaking on a cargo airplane, and I'm like, how cold will it get at 30,000 feet? This is stuff, Craig, you would know.
Craig might
And
know that
yeah,
information.
and I'm like, and then I'm like, at what level did they run out of oxygen? So that's the kind of stuff I was doing today, and I'm like, how long would that flight from this place to this place take? And and so like I'm constantly doing research and trying to make things as authentic and real, and also including kind of some interesting, neat little facts. Again, it's not a history book, it's not a geography book, and so it's a balance between a fast-paced action adventure. But I'll stop there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you generally need oxygen above 12.5, and it was
Yep, there
60
you go.
below when we jumped out at 35,000 feet once upon a time. So, yeah,
Exactly. Those are the
plenty
temps I
chilly up
had.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to like rethink it. I'm like, okay, that won't work. Where it's like it's got to be a pressurized cargo, like because it's like I'm like it gets down to like 40 degrees below zero, and I'm like that won't work. And then like oxygen, like you said, I think it was 12.5, 13,000 feet, 14,000 feet. Like you need it, you need oxygen. So I'm like, okay, so somehow you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to make it realistic because it's like you can
Yeah,
see them being up there 40,000 feet, and it's like it's cold, and no, it's like freezing. You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
and you're gonna suffocate. So I had to rethink that, but.
Well, that line of direction you're talking about is kind of what Tom Clancy did. I mean, he was known
Yeah.
as being a master researcher, and I like the fact that you're doing that.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it and I appreciate that, but it doesn't. It's like in doing the research and then it adds to the credibility of the book and things that will come up in the scenes or like I'm pulling up Mongolia and I'm trying to think where do they go? There's a great oh yeah, this is what I was thinking about. Craig, we should return to this because I've got this great book I'm going to start reading done by an SAS and I forget what it's called, but it's like a survival book. It's like
yeah.
400
Okay.
pages thick. And I'm going to start reading it because there's a wonderful scene when Tom and Sarah escape from this detention center in Siberia. This is how book 4 ended, not to give it away, but they're arrested by the Russian government because they broke into the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg and stole back basically a Britfield artifact, and they got popped. So now they're escaping, and they get through the border, and it's survival mode because it's like they're camping, not camping, but they're like hiking, and they got some gear and stuff, and so I'm gonna have so much fun with that because I've never done that in a Britfield series, and I've barely even gotten into that research. But what's it like out there, and how do they survive? How cold? The type of animals that come up. There's going to be a great scene in the morning with a bear. You know, you know,
That whole process sounds fun, man.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
good
And I'm
on
always
you.
doing that. What do you do when a bear comes? And that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking up. But a lot of the stuff is the stuff you would have been taught in SEAL training and all of that,
Yeah,
and it made me really think of you when I was on that whole survival part because this is
yeah.
stuff you not only
Chad,
learn but
we got
did.
to cut real quick, but
Okay.
folks, stay tuned. We'll be back with a lot more from Chad Stewart.
To the untrained eye, it's almost never obvious. But trafficking is happening around you, and every child is vulnerable. Even yours. Even me. If I don't know you care, if you don't show you're interested, someone else might.
Welcome back, everyone, to Defending Our Children. We are on with Chad Stewart. Chad, I'm sorry to have to cut you off there for the break. You were on a roll talking about the research and what you were doing with the survival techniques and principles and all that, and it was fun stuff. So I hated to cut you off, but please continue.
Oh, not at all. Yeah, and it is interesting because it's like in some of the main places that go in book 5, although we can talk about book 4 because this is what we just launched. And that took a lot of work, a lot of time, 2 years to write. But it starts in Siberia and then moves into Mongolia, which is fun, and they actually get saved by a nomad tribe, which is great. That's that kind of warm family feel that they're like being chased in the helicopter and they hear barking dogs and then they kind of run across this nomad group that are out hunting, if you will, and then they get on camels. And so I'm researching camels, and I'm like, how fast do you think camels go? They go up to 35 to 40 miles an hour. I'm like, really? I'm like, wow, I didn't think that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's that kind of fun stuff. And I'm like, that'd be a cool scene. And then horses, of course. I was looking that up this morning. I'm like, at a full gallop, how fast can a horse go? And it's about 40 miles an hour. But but they can't maintain it. But again, this is the kind of fun stuff that I've been doing. But I think the themes that we've already hit is number one, family, right? And the
Yep,
importance of
yeah,
family. And everything needs to be anchored in family. And from day one, if you will, the usual suspects, the cabal, the committee, have been trying to divide the family, destroy the family. They hate the family.
yep,
Another thing that we talked about, is hope and the importance of hope, especially for kids to have hope. And on this previous conversation, a gentleman, actually, he was the writer of the movie script. This is the finished 7th draft of the movie script. We're in pre-production now, so that's exciting. If we have time, we should kind of go into that because that's big news. But he was saying like when he was 15, He was suicidal. And a lot of us have faced that aspect at certain ages where you lose hope. And I think especially now in today's day and age, kids need hope. So we're talking about the importance of that. And then I think the theme number three that we're talking about right now is authenticity. And you were talking about that with truth, right? And everything they've done over the years is to delude the truth, or what is the truth, right? And I have personally been relearning history for over 12 years. I was a history major. I was a literature major. But ever since 9/11, and then about 3 years after that, I mean, when 9/11 happened, I'm like, let's go get them like everybody
Yeah,
else. Those
right.
bastards, you know? And, well, trust the Bushes. I mean, they know things that we don't know. It's like, holy moly, 2.5, 3 years later, when I started going down that rabbit hole,
Hmm.
wow. Right. And it was phases, because it was hard. It was hard learning. And I started to learn forward and I started to learn backwards. Well, if that whole thing was a complete lie from start to finish, what else was a lie? And so it's that whole different, I've said this before, that famous quote by, I think it's William Casey,
Yep.
who used to be director of the CIA, said, "We
Right.
know our job will be completed when everything the American public believes is a lie."
Yeah.
I mean, let
Yeah.
that resonate for a minute. That is their mantra, that everything we believe is a lie. Wow. Isn't that a great mantra? Let's rally behind that. Like, that's our mission in life, to make sure that everything you know and believe is a lie. And it constantly, it's like, if you tell a big enough lie so often, and you're seeing it right now. Oh, what just happened last weekend? Oh my gosh, this spontaneous bunch of derelicts that are showing up in the cities. You know, we want the cabal to have back these billions of dollars, and we want our borders open so we can bring in terrorists and human trafficking. And I mean, 90 to 95% of every one of those idiots was paid $50 to $75 to be there, shout, scream, and hold up signs they didn't even create. But we as a public, as a nation, we know that. Their lies aren't sticking anymore, and they're not working anymore. But again, we're talking about the truth and authenticity. I'll stop.
Well, everybody just ponder the the situation where we have an agency that we fund with a ginormous budget and have their own black budget that they fund through heroin and arms deals and probably child trafficking. Imagine the betrayal and the treason carried out. So now we've got a new admin. I'm waiting to see how many hundreds of people from our key agencies that we've watched commit the crimes and their directors caught red-handed in congressional session could not answer simple questions about the behavior of their agencies and bureaus under previous administrations. We're not seeing any arrests. We're not seeing any firings. And I'm like, uh-oh, it better start soon, and because it needs to be mass
Yeah.
prosecution of our betrayers. And people have been hung by a manila rope until dead for a lot less than what some of our key agencies have done with our own tax dollars.
Yeah.
And imagine betraying everyone you love, your entire nation, a traitor uh, in the intelligence community or in law enforcement, instead of protecting your homeland. It's just so bizarre, Chad. It's so twisted. But I was in the intelligence community when I started learning how bad it was, and I
Mm,
was horrified. I was horrified. I was heartbroken. I ran around trying to alert everyone. People were not ready. I think just in this last year or two, people have begun seeing what's going on and
yes.
seeing the truth, and it's a process, right?
Yes.
The awakening, the consciousness of awakening to the fact that we've all been ripped off and lied to so extensively is painful, but it is empowering, just like
Yes.
the movie The Matrix. It
Right.
really is. A lot of people will not take that red pill, which is the truth. They're like, no, give me the blue and I'd rather stay asleep. And that's Stockholm syndrome. I'm more comfortable in the
Sure.
enslavement and the abuse that I'm in than the stark reality of freedom that stronger men and women, um, are inspired to run into. So, I hope that it does continue, that the lights continue to come on, the sun continues to come out, we begin seeing
Amen.
what's happened, and that we do see our key agencies purged of the corruption, lest the betrayal continue at industrial scale and we lose everything. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Everybody needs to be aware. And
No, beautifully said. And I think the word I would say is that we've become institutionalized, right, as a
oh,
nation.
sure, sure.
And we don't even realize how good life could be or should be. That warmth and that comfort, or the single working, the man that's working and the mother staying at home, or the whatever, or the guy can stay at home, the mother can work. But it's like right now you got dual working 80 hours a week, right? To paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And it's interesting about The Matrix. I remember like hearing like the Matrix wasn't a movie, it was a documentary. And I think there is such an accuracy to that. But I'll say one more thing and then we can move on. But I'll never forget this. Before I even was woken up, and I must have been 12 or 13, and I had a friend of mine, good friend growing up in Corona del Mar, California. And his nephew or cousin was in the CIA. And he said something to him that he goes, there's things that I can't, he goes, I can't begin to tell you that I know, and your life would be in danger. And it's just like that thread of like telling this 12, 13-year-old, he's like, there's things I know that would blow your mind. There's things I know, the truth that I can never tell you. And I remember like hearing that like CIA, like people that work within the know won't even walk in a room where you have one of these new, screen TVs, because they're that deadly. Just physically being in that room, because they emit a trance, and whether they're on or off, and all that stuff. And you got into that stuff, but anyway, go on.
Yeah. Well, it's we celebrate the lights coming on, the sun coming out.
Yes, I do
That's the
think
hope.
yeah.
That's the hope, and that we see, and it is happening. So, an aware and alert and educated and
Yes,
empowered populace are impossible to enslave.
there you go.
Therein lies the struggle. So, for right now, before we cut to this next break, Chad, we got about a minute left. Go ahead and
Okay.
let people know how to find you, how to find the books, and support what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, you can always check out Britfield.com. That's our award-winning website. And if you do purchase the books on there, you actually get signed copies. I'm still signing books, and I won't be doing that too much longer because I'm just getting extremely busy, especially with the film. And we've got some global tours planned. We're going to be in Britain, Eastern Europe, and traveling the world. But if you do want to purchase the books, that's a great place to go, and you'll get signed copies, and or Amazon, which is great, and a lot of other platforms. So,
Okay. Folks, do not turn away, because there will be a not so slight shock on your finger today if you do that. So stay tuned in the next segment with Chad Stewart. We'll be right back.
Hey, Tim James here. When I was 37 years old, I had some severe gastrointestinal issues. I was tired, fatigued, wasn't feeling good, skin issues. My health was a mess. Let's just put it that way. Now I'm turning 52 this year, and I have abundant energy. I'm able to trail run and kick the butts of my 22 and 24-year-old sons. Yep, that's right. And do push-ups and all this other fun stuff. How did I do it? Well, one key ingredient, if you want to get healthy, if you want to get your energy back, you want to get your vitality back, is real nutrition. Our soils have been so over-farmed, 85% of the nutrition is gone today, and then the rest is processed out through these processing plants. So what we have created is a formula called Green 85 juice formula. You can take 1 scoop in the morning, and we suggest you do another one in the afternoon about a half an hour before dinner, and you will revitalize your health. You will get your health back. You will cut your hunger cravings, and you're going to actually cut your grocery bill in half. This product will literally pay for itself, because you cannot eat as much food, because your cells are now getting the nutrition they need. Go to chemicalfreebody.com/DOC. That's chemicalfreebody.com/DOC. Get Green 85 today and energize your life and your health so that you can feel as good as I do, and Craig does, and Forrest. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Welcome back to Defending Our Children. We're on with best-selling author, Chad Stewart of the Britfield series. We're celebrating the work that he's done, the love behind it, the empowerment that it brings to those who read it. So what better thing to celebrate, folks? So I'm enjoying the conversation. I hope you guys are too. I think with the sunshine coming out and people being alerted to the truth, it's a beautiful thing to me, Chad. And I do see that some people are not happy with change, and they're panicking, because to me, it's like if you have a bully taking your lunch money every day, and you start to prevent him from taking as much of your lunch money, I'm not really worried about people panicking about that. You're upsetting what's been, now the bully's not even going to have as much of your lunch money as he used to have. It's like, no, exactly, because it's not due him. it's not doesn't belong to him.
Exactly.
And now there's a more fair and equitable um, arrangement, and the neighborhood will adjust accordingly into a healthier dynamic. And that's what's going on globally right now.
Sure.
People are like, well, there's things changing. Yes, but it's long overdue.
Oh yeah.
Watch how the market adjusts and things settle in, and it becomes a healthier arrangement, a more fair arrangement for all instead of so hostile and one-sided. So it is interesting to see, man, people do not like change, a lot of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
even if it's healthy and productive change. So I would say just relax, everyone, keep the faith and
Yeah.
keep doing good, keep hope, because what I see is things happening that need to happen for the
Yes.
betterment of everyone in the United States. And I celebrate it, and I'm relaxed, and I'm cheering
Exactly.
into for the long haul, a recovery and healing of our nation, and restoration of legitimacy. So I just
Love
wanted to
that.
say that before we go any further.
No,
Craig,
that's beautiful. Go
I
ahead.
will tell you this. I work for the company I work for. We were always going through change, always going through growing. And there were a lot of people that did not like change. But what I would tell them is with change, there's opportunity. And that's the way people should be looking. There's going to be opportunity with all the changes. Quit looking at it from that glass half empty. Look at it as the glass half full. We've got another half to fill. And so I think that it's going to present a lot of opportunity that will allow us to grow and flourish.
Whenever somebody resists change just because they're not used to it, I flash back to the Garth character of the Wayne's World movie and series where he's sitting at a workbench and he pulls out a mallet and starts wailing away on something and says, "We fear change." I was like, wow, that's a pretty overwhelming response to change, but it's like them, making fun of the situation where human beings, it's human nature not to like change, but man, if you want things to improve, that involves change, folks. So
Yeah, it's a
don't
great
ride the
quote.
brakes when you don't know what you're riding the brakes about.
It's a great quote by the German philosopher that says everyone wants to grow, but nobody wants to change. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to grow, but no one wants to change. And there is that sense of comfort, and I would call it mediocrity or lukewarm mediocrity. You coming from the military and the training you did, there was no mediocrity there. You know what I mean? It was pushing yourself beyond levels you didn't even know existed. And that's what's extraordinary, and I think for all of us there. And you said it too. There's just opportunity, and this is all big opportunity. Anyone that's resisting it right now or in fear, and you shouldn't be in any kind of fear. Like I have a piece. I know Craig has a piece about what's happening. I haven't been nervous. I haven't been anxious. I think there's an odd stillness that's going on nationwide right now, and that has a lot of things hooked to it. But I think I mean, enjoy the win, enjoy the ride. This is a
Yeah.
time to have some fun, to get back into things. I think the things that are coming are going to be extraordinary. Anyone that just spends a little time doing their own research on credible platforms would know how good all of this is, what it means, why it's happening, how long it's needed to happen. Look at all the stuff that's being revealed right now. I've said for 18 months, the government was just a laundromat. That's it. I myself did not even realize to the extent of the billions and billions and billions of dollars and all these cabal groups and the Soroses and all these or whatever, all these freaks. That was our money. Like you're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're
Yeah.
billionaires, and it's like none of them are billionaires because
Yeah.
none of them have any kind of creativity. They don't work for a living. They're not smart or intelligent, but they will kill, cheat, steal. That's what they do, and that's what they've been doing for decades, if not centuries. And they're being called on it, and that's exciting. And you're seeing some kickback from China right now, and it's just like that's a paper tiger, and it's been a paper tiger that's inflated. It's like a hot air balloon. It's like that thing is going to collapse in a way you didn't even know collapsing was going to happen. So don't worry about it. Do your
Yeah.
research.
Well, as a historian, you'll appreciate it's been some of these lessons get learned repeatedly throughout human history. And, in military special operations training, it's hard for a reason. It's hard because you need to make those changes in who you are.
Mm.
Maybe the young, soft body, soft minded young man that you'd started off to be, if you intend to go and slay your enemies, special operations warriors who are hardened and capable, you can't do it if you're squishy and soft mentally and physically. right? So there's a hardening process. That's not always fun, but it is empowering and it is necessary.
Yeah.
And even in our own personal walk in our life, if we decide to, we can continually improve who we are and change who we are. I'll tell you right now, I am in deep prayer over who I am and how I am. And I learn not only from reading the Bible, but in prayer, my flaws, my personal flaws. And I've learned as I did in the special operations community to accept change, to identify a better method, a better technique, and take that on board so you can go faster, you can go further, you can be stronger, you can be more effective if you improve. And that's a process where even as a fighter, I noticed a lot of guys, if you talk to them about, fighting, if they've only learned one style, then any other style is, it's horrible. But if guys have learned 4 or 5 different styles, then you could talk to them about other styles, and they'll open their minds and they'll take the good and spit
Sure.
out the bad
There you
to
go.
each fighting style. And I think we all have that opportunity, and I love that's what you're talking about with the hope and don't be have your heels dug in against change when the change is positive. And so we can do that inside of ourselves as to who we are and how we are, in addition to who and how our country chooses to be. So I think everything starts on the inside personally and grows outward from there. That's my 2 cents on that.
Love it. It's beautiful. It reminds me too, again, with this whole Britfield theme, because of the authenticity, because of the realness and the challenges of my main characters, Tom and Sarah, throughout this. And they're growing from 12 to 13, 14, 15. Now in book 5, they'll be 16 and a half, which is exciting. And there's a huge transition between each year. But they're constantly faced with these challenges. And it's, again, they don't have the answers, or they don't have all the answers. But they try to make decisions. Sometimes they're the right decisions and they move forward. Sometimes they're the wrong decisions and they quickly learn from it. And they do get beat up along the way, and they do make mistakes, and there is frustration, and that's reality, and that's life, and that's what we're teaching in these stories. But it's threaded with this idea of hope. It's an idea of improvement, and they're always learning, and that's kind of an exciting theme.
The lessons learned, that's empowerment, just
Yeah,
like we talked about earlier. You empower those you love. And in your stories, they learn through experience. And the reader learns those lessons. If they haven't learned them already, man, that learning is improving. If you take that lesson and you take it on board and you make the adjustments, that is change, but it's improvement. And I love that your books have those stories that share the lessons learned. Like, ooh, here's what happened. Here's what here's obviously what we had to learn from it, and that's fantastic.
and I'm educating the readers with geography, history, art, architecture, culture, creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, great values, great themes. But it is interesting. What they overcome, and what I wanted to say, it's not a sole person. It's not just about like Tom. He can't just do it himself. It's working with others. It's learning from others. It's working on the strengths. Everyone has certain strengths. Everyone has certain weaknesses, and I think there's an interesting thing with it. Well, we can return to it,
Yeah,
but
let's hit that
yeah,
on the way back.
okay, great.
All right, stay tuned, folks. We'll be back with quite a bit more from Chad Stewart.
Here to review this V4CR coffee from Veterans for Child Rescue. Getting rid of child trafficking all around the world.
Rescue Roast. This is being offered strictly to fund our operations. We found a great roaster, chosen our 3 favorite flavors. And our light, medium, and dark roast, we're offering it right now in pre-ground form. If you want to enjoy it in K-Cups, we have stainless steel cups on our website, and they are reusable. Just take the coffee and pour it into the cup. Close it up, put it in the machine. Oh, yeah. So go to our website right now, v4cr.org. Order as much as you want on our shop page. We're grateful for your continued support. We're excited about what this means as far as boosting the funding for our operations. Thank you so much for your continued support. God bless.
Welcome back to Defending Our Children. And Chad, like our coffee, we have another sponsor, chemicalfreebody.com. Green 85 is a powder-based product that we put in water and drink. This gives us our 85 essential vitamins and minerals that we need on a daily basis. Our friend Tim He has been our life coach or our health coach, and he's created a great product. I encourage you to go check it out. You can go to chemicalfreebody.com/DOC, use the code DOC for a discount. And all the money that we get from them goes to our mission. Anyhow, one of the things that I was thinking about, and I always thought about in reading, is the logic chip versus the part of your brain that is dopamine driven. And so when we were kids growing up, we didn't have technology. We had books. And so, we spent our time at the playground and learning social skills. And what I think technology has done to our kids is it's removed them having to have face-to-face social skills, and it's made them dopamine driven.
Sure.
Whereas reading, to me, enhances your logic chip, and the development of that front part of your brain is very important. Today, we see grown adults that can't deal with logic. They're having temper tantrums at airports, at Starbucks, at the gas station over and they're going to jail. They're getting thrown in jail when all they have to do is answer a question or abide by a command that is very natural that you and I grew up dealing with on a regular basis. So
standard enforcement.
Yeah. So, to me, the concept of a book that, talking in the break, you have this book that when you start with book one, you're not only does the book evolve, but even it sounds to me what you're saying is your writing skills evolve. And to me, it will help the reader develop that logic chip. I don't know if that's something that you've thought about, or if it's part of your strategy, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and that's really well said. And yeah, these books are extremely strategic. And book two, Britfield and the Rise of the Lion, took me 5 years and 3,000 hours to write. And then again, I'm as an author, I'm always honing my skills, and I'm always trying to improve as one would. But how many people have read a book and it's like the first one was great, and then it's like, the second one didn't have it, or by the third one they kind of lost that story. And I've been fortunate enough, in my opinion, that I haven't. I mean, I like book two more than I like book one, but book one is great. Book one is my Star Wars, right? 1977 Star Wars. It's like that was like a great kicking off of the series and stuff. Empire Strikes Back is just like book two, a lot more intense, deeper, a lot more at risk. And then book three, Britfield and the Return of the Prince, which was sort of the trilogy. But no, I mean, these books are extremely well thought out. And book four took me four months just to outline, and I had 75 scenes, and so that meant I spent 4 months every day, 4 to 6 hours, outlining it, every single scene, what scene is there, why is it there, how does it tie in. That's round one. That's the plot of the whole story. That's the roadmap. Then it's the layers. It's the character development. So I've got 12 different characters. Every character has to have a character arc. What are the strengths? What are their weaknesses? What's a secret they're hiding? Then it's threading in some of the cabal stuff. Like in book four, it was the countdown. It was the dangers of AI and how the human mind at the end overcomes. The human mind is smarter than AI. I don't know about you, but AI is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean, talk about autocorrect. I mean, it's like, how many times do I have to use the same thing? And it's just like, I mean, it is so stupid. They call it the smartphone, and I know it stands for something with the different letters. There's nothing smart about it. It's a smart meter. There's nothing smart about it. AI is so fast and sophisticated. No, it isn't. It's stupid. And it's not creative. I've said that before. It plagiarizes and takes from others' works, but it does not create. It cannot create. It never will be able to create. There's decent aspects about it. It can calculate things very quickly, like a calculator. We've had a calculator for what, 40, 50 years. It's a little more advanced than a calculator. But it's like comparing things, or you know what I'm talking about, like when you're texting something and it's like they fill in this word, and it's like I've texted the same word like 60 times and that's not the word.
Autocorrect. It's part of their
like how stupid are you? I find it absolutely asininely dumb. And so now I'm under the impression that it can't be that stupid. So that's got to be part of the frustration factor. I don't know, but I'm getting off track. But no, so I really plan these books out. I do deep research to make it, you as the reader, fascinating. It's based on the 3-act structure. I've got multiple plot points plus the midpoint. Everything works off that midpoint and then trajects further. What I've done, I think, especially in book 4, with 75 scenes, is really what I have 75 stories. And a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it always ends on sort of a cliffhanger, and then it's the next thing. And what I'll do is I'll parallel 3 or 4 different scenes, if you will, Tom and Sarah, Hainsworth, Gowerstone and Fontaine, and it's like it picks up there, and then it picks up with them, and then it picks up with Henry, Kate, and Oliver, and then it comes back to Tom and Sarah, and I'll build that with little, let's say, 3 to 4 page um, scenes within the chapter. I'll never have more than 15 pages per chapter, So I spend a ton of time outlining it, thinking it out. It's not just a story, it's not just fluff. It's deep, it's layered. You could read Britfield and Lost Crown, 10 times. I've had kids that it's their favorite book, and they've already read book 1 8 times, which is amazing. But it is layered, right? I mean, you could get into, why did I pick Northern Yorkshire, Northern England, as a setting for book 1? Why is the orphanage called where they work during the day called the factory? It comes back to the Industrial Revolution. It comes back to the exploitation of children at a very young age. I mean, those are the undercurrents. You could spend a teacher could spend, a whole class or a week talking about Weatherly Orphanage and those tones and those threads. And, I use earth, fire, air, water, threaded throughout it. I talk about in the Industrial Revolution, Oxford, the epitome of academia, or is it? You know what I mean? And what does that mean? And then royalty, and is it really royal? And how did they get there with Windsor? And then finally get down to Canterbury and really the creation of religion versus relationship, right? The world created a religion, God created Christ as a relationship, period.
Right.
And so I mean, it's just like all that's in these books, and it's and they're just fun to read, and they're fast paced. Like you said, you had someone that read it, in a day, book 1 in a day, and I've had even kids, like, it's really cool because I just got some recent feedback from a mother. I think her son's like 12 or 13, and book 4 is, they're now 15 and a half, so it's definitely kind of into your teenage, your young adult, very intense, but I never go over the edge. It's not graphic ever because you don't need to be. But her 12-year-old, and it's just like he was like waiting and waiting, and he finally got it. She's like, "Oh my gosh!" She like read the whole book like in a day and a half, and she goes, and he's a reluctant reader. And it was like this review, and she's like, "For any mom that has kids that are reluctant readers, get the Britfield series." And it's like it's designed that way, and I think it's designed that way for a lot of reasons. But number one, it's just clean content. It's clean fiction. It's fun. It's not alienating them. It's not making them feel less than they are because they're not superpowers or demigods or vampires or all this other just shite. Let's call it what it is.
It doesn't have a dark political agenda like so many things do. It's just betrayal.
Yeah, it's just a clean, fun book, but that's very well thought out. It's like you said, it's like Bourne Identity meets James Bond meets Narnia. I love what a comment I had a couple months ago from a woman, I think, out of Canada, and she goes, "I love the Britfield series." She goes, "It reminds me a lot of James Bond, but with a bigger cast and a greater purpose." And I thought, wow, what a great what a great line.
Wow.
That's a great tagline.
Yeah. So probably something more realistic, more goal, because when you want James Bond is great. However, it's always about saving the world.
Yes.
And but in your world, it's something a little more attainable to the average reader.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I tell parents all the time, I said, I'll never forget when the movie came out for Lord of the Rings. Gollum looked exactly and sounded exactly the way I imagined as a kid. Mm-hmm. And what I was amazed, as an adult looking back, how much brain power was I using when I'm reading a book and I'm building the set and I'm building the environment, the temperatures and the smells and all those things the author is trying to provide. And that's the thing that I tell parents about reading books. And this is the type of book that you can start reading, and your kid's going to take that book. If he's too young to read, eventually he's going to take that book away from you and he's going to start reading it to you. And that's, as parents, I think, is what we want. I think it's important for people to understand that. Read the book with your kid, sit next to him, and eventually you're going to be proud that he's going to take that over. Folks, we got to stop for a commercial break. We'll be back with more from Chad Stewart.
Every day in America, children are trafficked for sex. In schools, shopping malls, truck stops, clubs, and bars. Think it can't happen in your neighborhood? Think again. If you suspect a child is being trafficked for sex, call the National Human Trafficking Resource Center 24-hour hotline at 1-888-373-888.
Welcome back, everyone, to Defending Our Children. This is our final segment today with Chad Stewart before he leaves us. It's been a great conversation. I've enjoyed the whole thing. I know Forrest has too. Chad, I know and I don't know if I'm welcome to say this, but there's also a movie coming behind your awesome series. Can we talk about that, or do I have to
Sure. No, yeah, I'd
get
love
locked
to.
in a box?
Yeah, it's kind of fun because it's accelerating and where we are right now with the Britfield series, and I've said this before, is and it's taken a long time to get here. It's been a soft release for 6 years. This is year seven, and this is our year of going global with the series. And we're 1 mile off the coast of Normandy with all my boats lined up, and we're this is D-Day for Britfields. It's very exciting, and it's taken a long time to get everything orchestrated and lined up. We're just about to sign a contract with a major national book distributor. Been working on that for almost 18 months, and that'll be signed next week, which means the entire series will go into the rest of the bookstores, the libraries, be available nationwide. Um, because again, it's been a soft release with the series. And you can't do a lot with book one. I mean, you do what you can, but it's like people read it and they have nowhere to go. And plus, it's beta testing and getting feedback and stuff. So that national, we'll have a huge press release probably within the next 2 weeks about the national release. We launched in we launched in Britain through a distributor last June. Probably mentioned that on your show. So it means all 4 books are now being distributed all throughout Britain. Britain's our beachhead for Eastern Europe. I'm sorry, for Europe. We just all 3 books have been translated into Polish. Poland is our beachhead for Eastern Europe. We're about to lock in South Korea and Japan. I think we'll be a bestseller in Japan. South Korea is our beachhead in Asia. 2 weeks ago, from the London Book Fair, we picked up a potential publisher in China,
Oh,
which
wow.
is interesting. And they really are fascinated and love the Britfield series, and they are now reviewing all 4 books. And I'm hoping that for a huge announcement that we will be published in China. Wow, I did not see that one coming. I knew we would get there eventually, but I didn't see it this quick. We have a major publisher in India that's interested in buying the international rights and translating it, along with 18 other countries. So this is huge. This has been a lot of hard work, tens of thousands of hours into this. But
Chad, what
little
about
by
Ireland? We have a big following in Ireland,
Oh,
so
I love Ireland, and a big shout out to Ireland. I'm planning on a global tour. We're kicking it off, I think, in May. I'll start in Britain for 3 weeks. I want to be in Ireland for a week, touring your beautiful country. So, yeah, it's tricky. I think I'm not sure. I remember with our British distributor. I think we have affiliations there, and I think we've had some orders from some bookstores in Ireland. So little by little, it's just, seed by seed planted. People read the series, they love it, they tell their friends. But we're just about to invest about $10 million into making this thing go global too. So we got a lot of things happening. And then the movie. And so it's been about 3 years of development for the movie. And I know a lot of people talk about development. For us, it's been real development with weekly talks. Number one, it was the script. Here's a seventh draft, final Britfield's movie script. So I've taken the 384-page book and we got it down to 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's fast paced. It's incredible. I was reviewing it again, doing a polish couple months ago. It was the seventh polish, and again trying to get it tight, trying to clean it up. And I mean, I was getting emotional in scenes. I really was. I mean, no one knows the story more, but like stepping out of it, I was like, it's so tender, it's so heartfelt. The story of book one and then how it will translate into a movie will transform cinema. I'll be honest. Hold me to it. We are going to set box office records. I don't think people know what's coming with the Britfield movie. I think you're going to finally have clean content that the family can go out to see. The grandparents can go take their grandkids to go see it. I think you're going to have a Star Wars 1977 moment of the impact that this will have, because number one, there's a 90% gap for good family clean content. Number two, family friendly movies is the number one market and make the most money. And number three, it's a story that you've never seen before. I mean, I have a hard time comparing Britfield to other movies. It has aspects of it, but everyone's off into fantasy world and animation and super gods and superheroes and adventures. And it's like disconnect, 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 disconnect. And I just think it's the type of movie that kids will actually stand up, in certain scenes and start clapping. When's the last time you've seen that? I think you'll laugh. I think you'll cry. And I think the second it's over, you'll sit there for about 5 minutes because you can't believe what you just watched. That's what I think the movie's going to do.
Well, I want to be the first to say that I will, as a non-classically trained thespian, that I will waive all my fees if you need somebody to cast somebody as man falling down. I'm your guy. So.
And it's funny, Forrest, because I was thinking like for this one scene where someone falls down, I'm like, Forrest would be perfect for that.
Great.
So
you just get a hold of
one of
my
the best
agent
in the neighborhood at that.
What's that?
He's one of the very best fallers in the neighborhood.
No, so we're in pre-production now. We're reaching out to a couple major directors that we're looking at in earnest. We're reaching out to potential actors right now. We're in the process of working with the British film organization, to be shooting in to shoot a significant portion of this in Britain and in England, coming back to the authenticity standpoint.
Yeah.
Don't have to, want to. We're pretty much using all British actors. So again, it's not that Americans can't do a good British accent, but we want that authenticity. Plus, let's be honest, some of the Brits are some of the best actors. And they're going to be, most of them living there anyway. But I really do. I want to film most of this in England. So we're making inroads right now, getting the infrastructure in place. We have our weekly talks, but we're talking almost every day now. We're now working with a major PR company, so you're going to see a major press release coming out in the next week or so. And then you'll start to see a huge waterfall of announcements about the movie and things that are happening. It's going to expedite very quickly. It's like a funnel. You start out here with the idea that, yes, this is going to be a movie, and you start working towards the movie, and then you have to hire the script writer. That took 18 months to finish that process, draft 1, draft 2, draft 3. Shouldn't have taken that long, quite frankly. But anyway, you know what I mean? But like the script is everything, and a good script. Most movies fail because number one, they're crap. Number two, they're forcing an agenda nobody wants. Number three, they're poorly written, and they're not a great story. Or it's written. It's like I got this great ending, and I got this great beginning, I got this great ending, and the rest will work out once we start filming. No, it won't.
They also insert agenda-based content that is unnecessary to the story, and they're also recycling old classics.
I know. How's it working out with Disney and Snow White?
Yeah, not good.
That was a $270 million budget. Are you kidding me? Can we say money laundering?
Yeah, they're probably getting their hands on our tax dollars and squandering it on their agenda.
That's
like
the
do
problem
everything else.
too. Yeah. Anyway, we'll stay on topic. But no, so I'm really excited about it, and so there'll be a lot of announcements, and we're just trying to lock in the director. I can't say anything right now, but that's kind of because he'll be the captain of the ship. Very important to find someone that is a award-winning director that's used to working with box office successes, especially with the translation of a best-selling novel into a film, and that's really good working with kids. So hypothetically, you get someone that's like directed the James Bond movies. That'd be fantastic. He's used to like high-paced, budgeted movies, fast-paced, all that kind of stuff, but he's not good with kids. You know what I mean? And, so it's a
whole different challenge. Yeah,
it is. It's a delicate balance, and you want a director that's not only patient but brings out the best in the kids, not goes for crying out loud. That's the 5th time we've shot it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, if a kid in a film they don't bring it, it falls apart quickly. So
yeah. What's so great about it too is it's all about the story, because we're talking about it. And you won't see any A-list actors in the Britfield movie. Not that we don't have the budget to afford it, but it's not needed. And you might see some cameos. I'm putting a call out. I mean, a shout out to Denzel Washington. I want you in this. But you know what I mean? And I think you'll get some of that, because they'll number one, their kids would have read it and they're like, oh my gosh, mom or dad, you got to be in this movie. And it'll just be fun. It's kind of like Daniel Craig dressing up as one of the stormtroopers. Yeah.
I look forward to all of it, brother. We're running out of time. We appreciate you, Chad. Let people know real quickly how to find the book one last time.
Yeah, you can find us on Amazon is the easiest way and fastest way to get it. Or if you order on our Britfield.com website, Britfield.com, you'll get a signed copy.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time. Thanks for what you do for the little ones and for everybody who reads it. God bless you all. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and join us again next time on Defending Our Children.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to Defending Our Children, the show that empowers the people with the information you need to know. Learn more on how to get involved and make a difference at vets4childrescue.org, because the children are worthy.